Hello, everyone. I'm Chester44, also known as Fly, and welcome to this Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. A very interesting game, in my opinion. I actually played this myself on my own back in December, so only like a month ago, month and a half, and it was very interesting. And then I discovered that the sequel actually came out the day before I'm recording this, i.e., January 31st. I found it interesting enough that I did want to play the sequel when it came out, but I'm also kinda needing to find games to fill up the gap in time before another game I want to play comes out, which doesn't actually have a release date aside from Q1. So these are short, or at least this one is short. The second one might be a little longer. I don't know. We'll see. But it should be interesting and be able to get some time out. And not only that, there's no voice acting. So it's been a while, but I'll be able to do some of my own voice acting. So that should be an interesting one. And hey, Wolfen and Vey. So, do join me on this bit of entertainment. And yes, new game. Empty. For the game, you basically play the part of a sleeper, which is effectively a robot, but a living person's brain or intelligence has been transferred into it. I don't know the full details of that. You get to choose between 3 different types: machinist, operator, or extractor, and that will decide the kinds of skills that you have. One has a little bit of a penalty, one has a boost. Let's see. Extractors are extra endure, lower intuit. Operator is higher interface, lower endure. And machinist is higher engineer, lower engage. With the skills, it's a little self-explanatory. As it says here, engineer is how good you are with working with tools and the like. Kind of similar to me being an electrician, which is why I did this the first time. Interface is more of a digital kind of thing. Endure is basically being able to take things that are happening. Intuit is how well you're able to think of things, and engage is getting up in someone's face or punching them in the face. I was the engineer last time. I think I'll give operator a try this time. See how this one goes. An operator works with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. So, able to interface with the digital side of things easily, not as good with being able to endure a lot of stuff. But let's give it a try. The little loading screen is under my face right now. That's why you can't see it. There we go. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect. The delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. You're gonna think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day. The sting of blood welling from a fresh wound. The friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach, until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in behind and around you, and the sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful. Not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There's no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you got the itch to get out, by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft. Others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers. But the freighter, as far as you know, left. It feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if in the airless hold of a freighter you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Wait for the cold. That's all there is now. It's been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You're dully aware of the damage to your legs, your right arm. You've been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It's time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer until a haze of a dirty yellow of figure appears. You are out. It's been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You're slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You're surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. "So, Sleeper, are you all thawed yet?" "Almost." "Ever seen one of you come in like this? New frames must have better perseverance than Sub-Zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside-outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky." Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. "Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long." You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment. Or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. "What happened to them?" He ignores your question. "I won't ask what led you to do it. To sell yourself to a corporation. And I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now, and you are just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property." You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You're no longer that person. You're an offshoot. A copy. "What you don't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SNR wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, then no one can." You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. planned obsolescence, a built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have?
But for now, Sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones.
Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard.
The Eye is the best place you could be right now.
The Eye?
The station. You'll see soon enough.
Dragos impatiently shifts his weight.
Look, I've got things to be getting on with. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you are welcome to it.
Something wells up inside of you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Nod.
Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest.
And with that, Drago stalks back to the Rex, his drones already converging on a resting Hulk, plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. Alright. Well, may as well end the cycle. You wake, curled up in the corner of the container, and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its message is readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Escape, getting answers, or building a life? I feel like building a life might be a good idea to try for. Maybe you did get lucky finding yourself here. Maybe here, on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make life for yourself. Dragos has you left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you've finished drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Condition, action dice, and energy. This is the main part of, I'll read that in a bit. This is the main part of the gameplay here. Condition, action dice, and energy. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injury, or a lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you'll suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. For action dice, at the start of each cycle you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you've used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. As for energy, you also need to eat to survive, despite being a robot. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you'll be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss, and your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. So you can only do so many things a day. You only have so many days before you run out of condition and die. And you need to keep your energy up. Alright, continue. I guess now we leave. Ah, Dragos is standing in the corridor when you close up the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising.
How are you feeling?
Not too good. The drone chirps. Dragos nods. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches.
I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work?
Work?
Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart.
He looks away.
At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up.
Chits?
These!
He pulls out a handful of small metal bars.
Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here.
He stuffs them back in a pocket. Excuse me. He shuffles his feet nervously.
Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you would be best suited moving on as quick as you can, and sleepers... well... But things being the way they are for me at the yard, I need the help.
Why's that?
Things are a little tight, that's all. I owe a little cryo to a client here or there.
He pauses, thinking of something else to add.
Look, just come down to the yard when you are feeling fresher. There's plenty to do.
Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him.
See you later.
Looks like it's time to get to work. And now we have things to do, and we can look through the place. There is quite a bit to look around, but there's not much we can do at the moment. There is a low-end gate here. Pay low-end toll. After some space has caused some trouble in the low end, Yatagan have imposed a toll for entry. No one gets in without paying. Need 60 cryo to get through there. Which means all we can really do is go to Dragos' yard. The Actions tutorial. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Actions reward you with clock, progress, energy, condition, or items depending on their outcome. There's 3 types. Positive, when the action goes better than expected. Neutral, it succeeds. And negative, if it fails. If you are rolling a 6, it's guaranteed to be positive. 5 is a 50-50. 4 and 3, 50% chance neutral, 25 positive, 25 negative. And if it's 1 or 2, it's a 50-50 on whether it's neutral or negative. Actions display information about their type, risk level, and the skill and modifiers that apply to the action. The type is either critical or repeatable. Critical can only be done once. The risk is safe, risky, or danger. Safe has you don't lose anything if something happens. If it's risky, then if it's negative, you lose cryo or energy. And if there's a danger to it, negative means you lose condition, and neutral loses cryo or energy. Skill is the skill that the action requires. Either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. And the modifier is based on that. Either -1, 0, +1, or +2. This is added to the action dice when slotted and improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. So, our options are hull dissection. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. Or manual salvage. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you're no stranger to hard labor. Unfortunately, endure isn't something we can do. we would have a penalty for that, and that's not necessarily a good thing. We've also got two things, cycle clock and back in business. For a debt called in, Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or two, things get nasty. For back in business, every salvager knows they are always just one lucky haul away from their next payday. Which means, well, we have 3 6s, so that's guaranteed positive, and hull dissection is our best option here. So if we do this, there we go. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something, good or bad, is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Dragos' debt, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and can complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Which means we have 3 positives. Oh! In Citizen Sleeper, you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives, depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any track drive will place a yellow marker on locations that will help you pursue your goal. Access your drive menu via the arrow button at the top left of the screen. You're now free to explore Erlin's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. And remember to end the cycle at your home when you're out of dice. Alright. So, we only have 2 drives. Repaying Dragos and surviving. You need access to corporate pharmaceuticals, otherwise this escape attempt will come to a rapid end. Well, that's a bit. What else can we look at? Let's see. Well, we have a shipyard here. We can assist a shipbuilder. You don't have connections, but you do have skills. If you can get a shipbuilder to notice him, you might be in. Or hauling materials. As a newcomer, you can only gain favor by grabbing a load of materials and asking the nearest yard hand where to take them. Doing that enough, and the only way to know the shipyard is to work there. No tourists here. So it's ways to do things. We got the empty container in Dragos' yard. Dock C4. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of the Helion system are rare, but those that do always return eventually. So, after 8 cycles, something will happen here. We've also got Rotunda. We can steal dock plans. Havenage security has to have plans. Stealing them would be the fastest way to get to know this place, and the most dangerous. Or, explore the Rotunda. The Rotunda of the old dock is filled with passageways and concourses leading to all kinds of docking bays. Let's see, Dock Watcher. Getting to know the Rotunda doesn't just mean new places to visit, it means keeping your eye on new arrivals too. Havenage Watch List. Havenage run the Rotunda and their security watches the docks. Better to avoid attracting their attention. Okay. We've also got Dock B2. It takes several cycles to reach the starboard belt and return, loaded with scrap from the old wrecks. We've also got the Bright Market. We can ask for directions. Why wander when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the Bright Market? All you need is the courage to approach them. Or explore the market. The smells, sounds, and buzzing activity of the Bright Market makes it a dizzying place to wander, but an enticing one too. And the Bright Market is the busiest part of the Eye's lower rim. You can find anything and everything here. So, I did a little bit of work, so I have at least some money. And I've gotten at least some things done here. We have plenty of time to work on the debt. We need to do some exploring to find things. I feel like we should try exploring the Rotunda a bit, getting a little bit of knowledge here. That's a little bit. Unfortunately, a 1 is... It's a 50-50, and that seems risky. And it's going to be a 50-50. Oh, hold on. We found a few things. Overlook Bar. We can get myself a drink. You're unsure if your frame can metabolize alcohol, but this fungal drink, fermented along the greenway, seems like a good test. Or buy rations. Tala keeps some expired Solheim rations behind the bar for those weary spacers who ask why the Overlook doesn't serve food. Well, Well, that's good. We need a source of food. The Overlook isn't exactly a restaurant, meaning the only way you'll gain trust around here is with a stiff drink. So, we'll need to drink a few times in order to get anything. Which we do have money for. There's also something going over here. Ankita. Well, we can at least get one drink. Yep, that gives us a little bit of energy. Considering we lose 2 every time, it's good that we can actually get a little extra here. Although the fact we're losing power here means we gotta do a lot more searching, and fast. Somewhere there's gotta be something. Although it seems to imply that there's gonna be something in the Bright Market. Is there a way we can throw something in here? That one is danger, that one is risky. Let's try a risky play. Ah, jeez. Lost some energy. Well, we have some money. We can go ahead and buy a second. Alright. Which means there's still this here with Ankita. Hey you! Want to earn a chit? Ankita stands beside a huge pile of tied-together hull plates. She stretches out her back, her shoulders bulging beneath her flight suit. Sure. You cross the docking concourse as she begins to split the plating into 2 bundles. What is it with this place? She asks, as she lashes the massive plates together. Everyone wants their cut. She straightens up to an imposing height, her armor plates creaking, and looks you up and down. Don't try anything, alright? She taps the butt of her sidearm. I don't want to have to put anyone else down today. Anyone else? What can I say? My temper's a little bit short lately. Ankita hoists 1 bundle of plating onto her shoulder. Come on then, enough chat. You've got to earn that chit. You struggle to shoulder the plates, but you do eventually. Ankita gives you a look. Ship's this way. And she sets off down a gantry at impressive speed. As you catch up to her, she turns down a passage, pushing through a small crowd of stevedores. What's all this for? Oh, this? She nods at the plates on her back. I'm building a treehouse. It's for the ambergris, that cutter you might have seen sitting silent out there. She rapidly turns another corner as you trail behind. She got caught up pretty bad on our last job, and I had to moor up here for a spell. But since then, it's only gotten worse. Someone got in and sliced the core from our ship mine, so now she's gone dark. She shifts the panels on her shoulder. The upshot is that I'm short 1 ship mine with a ton of repairs to do, and the rest of the crew signed off the moment they got wind I'd been stranded. So yeah, it's been a time. Anything I can do to help? I don't know, got a ship mine tucked away on that frame of yours? For a moment, you aren't sure if she's serious. Ankita swings the plates from her back, almost knocking you over in the process. This is me. She hauls the second bundle off your shoulder. You're the first person I've met here who might actually be considered helpful. She pauses, showing her bottom lip. Look, you want to help? Come see me. I need a hand putting Amber back together, and you don't seem the type to try anything stupid. She passes the bundles of plates through the ambergriss's outer lock and then turns back. Just don't go spreading all this around. Ankita throws you a couple of chits. Consider it a bonus for not trying to grift me. She gives you a parting nod and ducks through the doorway. Alright, get out of here, she calls back, and the lock slams shut. Ah, the ambergris. So, we can rewire drones. Ankita has a couple of glitched repair drones in storage. If you can rewire them, they can repair the ambergris for you. Or hull repairs. Ankita needs all the help she can get with the ambergris. Pockmarked with damage, the hull is a good place to start. So we got 2 things. Ship shape, the ambergris doesn't look good, but time and attention should see it return to a functional state. Or grounded. The ambergris is in a delicate condition. It'd be all too easy to push it over into a cascading collapse. Well, it's another task we can try to work on. Clearly, rewiring the drones is something we'll be able to do, but it's critical we can only do it once. We'll deal with that later. Although, we're kind of out of actions. So, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and end the day here. And I'm going to end this episode here. Next episode, we'll take a rest and go through the next day, try and find what information we can, and see if we can find a way to repair ourselves. But that'll be in the next episode. So until then, I am Chester44. I'll send in his fly. This has been a Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper, and I shall see you all next time.